What's up, guys? Today we're doing one of my favorite draft prospects over the last few years, Sam Howell, 5th round pick out of UNC to the Washington Commanders. I'm going to have trouble with that throughout the video, so give me a break. And you'll get a first-hand look at why I am so frustrated by Scott Turner, who's one of my least favorite coaches in the NFL. He's the offensive coordinator for the Commanders, and he is extremely conservative. Dare I even say cowardly? Real quick, before we get started, I'm just going to break down the way I grade. I break throws into 6 buckets. We got the elite throws. These are downfield bombs on a dime, Josh Allen type stuff. It's the kind of stuff that very few quarterbacks can do, and almost no one can do consistently. A great throw is, a very deep ball that's catchable, but maybe not perfectly placed, or it's like a perfect second level throw, like 18 to 25 yards downfield. All of these are subjective, so the yards I'm giving you are just guidelines. Everything is malleable, everything is context-based and totally subjective. So somebody in a different video said, this is all just speculation. And I said, yeah, that's what scouting literally means. A solid throw is a positive throw that's not that difficult to make. It typically manifests itself in like 8 to 12 yard throws down the field past the line of scrimmage, or they can just be accurate throws on coverage bus, right? If a wide receiver runs a streak and the cornerback falls down, a throw that's accurate and gets to that receiver and lets him just take advantage of the coverage bus, that's good, right? You got to give him credit for reading the play out and being accurate, even if it's not a perfect ball. Bad throws are ones that are just inaccurate, or if they get batted. If a ball should be caught by a good starting defensive back, that's a pickable. Pickables don't always get picked. They're interceptable. That doesn't mean they're intercepted. And not all interceptions are always interceptable. Sometimes it's just bad luck, a deflection, a dropped ball, whatever. Most throws, almost every throw from almost every quarterback is going to be a pedestrian or routine throw. These are the things you expect your quarterback to hit, even if it's a backup. Checkdowns, quick hits, RPOs are typically pedestrian, and I'll actually show you in this game why I feel that way. There's a really good view in the All-22 of just how easy an RPO is to throw, even though they look super sick. I also grade the things that aren't just throws. The most prevalent one is going to be a positive pocket movement. This is any time that a quarterback extends the play or changes the launch angle to benefit the offense. Running around for no reason isn't positive, but in cases where it's actually helpful, you get a plus move. I also break sacks into ones that are the quarterback's fault and ones that aren't. I grade throwaways separately from all the above throws, and then I break runs into positive, neutral, and negative. Neutral runs are about as effective as a check down. Positive runs are probably about 10 yards or more, and I give bonuses the further they are downfield. And then a negative run is anything that hurts the team. It's fumbles, really easy. Did the quarterback fumble? I don't care who recovers it. If they fumbled, it's a fumble. For more nuance, stick with me through the video. But without further ado, let's get to the film. I really liked what I saw from Sam Howell. It was a little bumpy, like most first starts are, but overall, really good performance, really encouraging. All right, film. Sam Howell. First snaps as a pro. This is a guy I was really high on coming out of UNC. I had him quasi-famously as my number 1 ranked quarterback in the draft, and I gave him a first overall pick grade. And right here on his first ever pass, he comes through. It's a solid pass. It's in time. It's about 8 yards downfield. Perfect placement. That's why he leads McLaurin upfield and into the end zone. Look at that. Best quarterback of all time, right? Look at that passer rating, 158.3. Couldn't be better. Now, I'll show you the tight copy. This isn't an incredible throw. It's not unheard of, but it's far enough downfield and the placement is so perfect that I'll give him a positive throw on it. Good start. All right, second drive. Can't be that easy, right? The NFL's not all touchdown passes. Little play action rollout. Nothing there, so he just throws it away. That's proper. Now, again, we could go to the All-22 and we could break down to show you all 5 of the routes as they progress. But here I can already tell you what's going to happen. You've got this, it's basically a veer route over the center of the field. It's going to be covered by this linebacker. It's not available. You got the tight end leaking out. It's covered. It's not really available. These 2 outside routes are already jammed. It's not going to come open. This is the right play. You got a free rusher. Just get the ball out. Positive throwaway. Good job. All right, 3rd and 4. Even the conservative-ass Washington offense has to uncork it here, right? Oh, you had him. That's a perfect throw. That's a routine throw. Good job reading it out. I read this mesh wrong, actually, the first time I looked at it. Full disclosure, this is my first view. I have not watched this game yet. See, here you got a mesh, which means that basically McLaurin's crossing here, tight end's crossing here, and the defender is going to have to pick one, right? And then you're going to have a flood, so this slot receiver is going to try to follow where the tight end goes, basically. And I thought you should go to the tight end, but it makes a lot more sense to go to the number 1 receiver. And Terry McLaurin doesn't drop many balls, so that's exactly what you want that play to look like. It's a plus move. He threw it under pressure, and it's accurate. So in his entire career, Sam Howell has not thrown an inaccurate pass yet. Commanders are going to get the ball in the red zone again, and they're going to come out running. So we're going to have to wait until 3rd and 6 to see Howell on this drive, which isn't opportune for a young quarterback. And if you'll see here, nobody's really open. He could get the ball out to the flat here to the tight end, but it's 3rd and 6, and that's basically guaranteeing a field goal, which is the same as a sack in my book. He rolls out trying to extend the play, so we'll give him a plus move, but he tries to take off, and he probably should have just thrown the ball away. So it's a plus move, and it's a negative run. It's a slightly negative play. There were better options out there for him, but whatever. You're up 10-0 on the second-place Cowboys, right? No. Joey Slye, don't know how he has a job. First play is going to be play action. They're going to go max protect, 7 blockers, and then 3 people running routes. Now, you'll see right here, they're going to have, I think that's Samuel, and I think that's McLaurin. They're going to run deep down the middle, and that's why they're keeping so many people in to block, to make sure that Howell has time to get this off. Neither of those guys are open because one of them gets held, and Howell just moves through his progression, checks it down. We're going to grade it, even though this play gets called back for a holding on the defense, but just because we want a larger sample size, given we only have 1 game of his film in the NFL, right? But we're going to grade it as a routine throw because he does a really good job of getting through his progressions and making the simple throw, right? It's a gradable throw. On 2nd down here, they're going to throw a screen, and Howell's not going to throw it very well. It's routine. It's a routine throw because it's caught, and it's not like a spectacular catch, but it needs to be a lot lower. You want to put that ball right around his waist so that he could just grab it and run into it, you know? Regardless, it comes back for a penalty, or it would. And then here on 3rd down, Howell really disappoints me. You get McLaurin running right down the field, but you'll notice that there's a defender pretty close to Howell as he lets go. You got Terry McLaurin, an elite wide receiver, one-on-one on the outside against a backup corner, and he's going to torch his ass. But what I want you to focus on is the free rusher up the middle. This guy right here. He gets in on Howell, and as Howell goes to release, you can already see his weight is on his back foot. He's scared. He's wincing, basically, with his body. And when the ball comes out, notice he doesn't step into it. If he steps into it and takes the hit, sure, it's going to hurt, but he's probably going to throw a touchdown instead of this wobbler. Now, he gets bailed out by the defensive pass interference, the Joe Flacco special, an underthrown, inaccurate ball that gets bailed out by a big flag, but we don't reward that around here, right? I think that's poor refereeing. I think it's a poor rule to the extent that it's not the referees just blowing the call. So we grade that as a bad throw here. That's Sam Howell's first inaccurate throw as a pro. Here on 2nd down, they're going to run a little bit of an RPO where Howell's actually the run option, and he does a really good job of pulling it down and using his athleticism. Good job to gain 10 yards. That's a positive run in my book. The problem with Sam Howell at UNC is that sometimes he plays hero ball, and here he's going to do much the same. Now, I understand you've got Micah Parsons on you here, right? But let's rewind it a second, because you didn't always have Micah Parsons on you. We don't need the all-22 to see what's going on with the deeper receivers, because I know that it's 1st down, and at the very least, you've got an uncovered running back right here, right? Like 54 is close by, but 72 will get a hand on his chest, and he's free. And then 87 over here can lead block for him. It's a convoy to the 1st down marker. On 1st down, if you can get 2 yards, do it. Don't risk a sack. Even right here, you can still flip this ball out here, Mahomes or Favre style. And Howell is the kind of playmaker that will do that. Instead, he tries to be a hero, runs around, and takes a bad run. He either takes a bad sack or it's a negative run. It doesn't really matter. They get counted basically the same in the algorithm. Either way, negative play, and it's Howell's fault because he wasn't progressing quick enough. He panicked under pressure, and we don't like to see that. I don't know, maybe the Commanders got scared because then they start running the ball quite a bit instead of passing, which has been successful so far. Don't let that stat line fool you. They also gained 40 yards passing on a DPI, so despite the fact it was a bad throw, the pass seems to be working, and the Cowboys' defense seems to be incapable of handling it. All right, here you got basically nobody open except maybe McLaurin over the middle. Howell bails out of the pocket properly. That's a plus movement, and actually does eventually find McLaurin. It's an over route or a drag route. I'm not sure where he started. Yeah, that's an over route because he comes from the slot. And Howell waits until it basically becomes an out route because it crossed the center so long ago. Doesn't matter. It's a plus movement and a routine throw. Good job. Get a first and goal. Sorry, I'm not skipping through the lulls into the action as well as I usually would be. I'm grading this live. I have not watched this game yet. You're getting my first impression. Here's some nice play action and just a terrible pick. Oh, they're really not going to show us the All-22 on this? Okay, well, I don't want to have to go find it, so let's just see what we can see here. Yeah, this is just a high-low read, basically. They were expecting man, obviously. You can see that it's zone. Notice how basically all the Cowboys are lining up at the goal line. Against zone, the read is to chip it out to this tight end and let him try to get some yards after the catch, right? Maybe you gun it into McLaurin. I would chip it out to the tight end. Howell thinks that he's got a man in the back of the end zone, and a perfectly placed ball on the corner, maybe so. But whatever the case may be, he panics under a little bit of pressure, and he underthrows it, and that's why it's going the other way. Rookie mistake. Don't like to see it, but we'll see if he can bounce back. Drive 5 is going to start with a run. I expect the Commanders to harness Sam Howell a little bit after that pick. That's the kind of conservative team they are. Play action, roll out, and just checks it down. It's a routine throw, should be caught. It's not a good play by Patterson to not catch that ball. And again, I'm not sure what he had downfield, but I'm not really concerned because he still threw the ball for what should have been a first down, and he protected it. I'm not in the business of second-guessing every throw. If a quarterback makes a throw and he doesn't invite pressure, I don't really care which decision he made. Like here, this is a positive run. You get 10 yards on 3rd and 4? Hell yeah, do that shit every time. I'm not going to nitpick and go and see if maybe he could have thrown the ball somewhere else for a bigger gain. It's a routine throw. I know it looks cool, but as you can see, it's actually a really easy throw. RPOs are ridiculously easy. So after the big gainer on the RPO, of course the Commanders get cute and lose yards. And they get cute and don't gain yards. On 2nd and 14, I know I like to run into the heart of the defense, so on 3rd and 11, my rookie quarterback has to throw downfield with a porous offensive line against an elite pass rush. And they run sticks. This is just poor offensive coordinating. I know that a lot of film guys are really high on Scott Turner. I think he's an incompetent piece of shit. Just wildly conservative. The last time he felt testosterone in his blood was the first day of puberty. Why are you running 4-yard curls on 3rd and 11? So you can kick a slightly shorter field goal that your terrible kicker will miss. And 1, 2, misses the field goal. It's just poor coaching, and frankly, I don't know what's worse, the fact that the Commanders are trying to sell the team, and that's why they won't fire the head coach, or if it's because they actually think Ron Rivera and his staff don't suck. No matter, though, the Cowboys refuse to punish Washington for their terrible coaching. So they'll punt the ball right back. I know a lot of people think Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. I don't understand why they think that, other than the really cool uniform he wears. Speaking of really cool, look at this run. Again, I don't know if Howell is seeing things down the field that he should be, but I do know that that's a positive run, and I'll take it every time. I'm not as concerned with the full process because it is his first start, and if he sees the ability to get first down, I think it is important for him, especially with a 13-point lead, to just take that opportunity rather than try to be aggressive and work on his pedagogy. Here, this is a no-fault sack. He's getting sacked before he even gets the fucking play fake off. Once again, Washington's really poorly coached, and sometimes it comes to the forefront. So that's the first quote-unquote sack I'm going to grade. The other two I thought were negative runs. And that one is not Howell's fault. That's a neutral sack. A no-fault sack. Here, he finally gets a clean drop back, and he checks it down. I don't love this because, as you can see on the top, he's got upfield leverage on a streak. I would take that every time. So that's not really good process. I don't know if it's being coached into him because it certainly wasn't the kind of player he was at UNC, but that's a routine throw that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. All right, we're on to drive 8. I don't need to show you the all-22 from that last play because you should know that Terry McLaurin getting upfield leverage within 15 yards of the line of scrimmage is going to be an open streak, and it should be thrown regardless. Additionally, I'm not going to give you a halftime update because Howell's only got like 11 or 12 passes that have been gradable, and he's rocking a C- right now. So we'll wait until the end. There's just not that many snaps. The reason you didn't see drive 7 is because Scott Turner, in all of his lack of balls, decided to run the ball 3 times up the middle and punt, and it looks like he's on his way to doing it again here. Oh, look at that. They let Sam Howell play football, and look what happens. Fucking perfect ball. You don't throw it better than this. This is an elite throw. Please give me the replay. Nope. The condensed film guys just want to get the hell out of here too. Look at it go right through Jahan Dotson's hands. I like Jahan Dotson. That's bad play by Jahan Dotson. Line of scrimmage is about the 47, and it goes to about the 11. Do a little quick math. That's a 36-yard pass. Elite, excellent downfield ball placement. And one of my favorite things about Sam Howell coming out of UNC was that he had incredible downfield accuracy with excellent arm strength. Hopefully, Scott Turner allows him to show it again. Drive 9, because Dak Prescott is super stoked to see if Sam Howell can throw that deep ball again. And I am too, but I have very little hope because Scott Turner is the bane of my existence. I really hate watching him call football games. More Scott Turner. Like, this is Adam Gase shit. Like, fun. You ran out of a fucking one back formation. You ran a halfback flat. I'm sure those 2 yards were intricately schemed up, and I'm sure that guys like Greg Cosell will love it, but I'm not impressed. I don't give a shit how well schemed up something is if it caps itself as a bad play. Here on 3rd and 15, they're forced to let Howell throw, and he just checks it down. Again, I don't like it. In fact, I hate it. And I think that's being coached because if there was a knock on Howell coming out of UNC, it was that he was too aggressive. But, hey, you got a 7-point lead, right? Why try to extend it? That's insurmountable, right? We're already on drive 10, and they've thrown the ball 13 times. That right there should be enough to get Ron Rivera and Scott Turner fired on the spot. They finally let Howell throw on a first down, and he makes a good throw. He throws the 10-yard curl on time, in rhythm, great placement. Keep it going. Yes, keep throwing the ball. Here we go. Another routine throw. Use his legs a little bit to modify the throwing angle. It's not a plus movement, but good. Now, your team is so poorly coached that you're going to get stupid infractions like that, like a downfield man. But, hey, look at that. Another RPO. Just keep throwing the fucking football to your insanely good receiving core with your really good young quarterback. Come on. Do you guys watch these games and just fucking blow a gasket too? Because this is absurd to me. Like, this is really frustrating to watch. You don't have a good offensive line. They have a good defensive line. Don't run it at them. Okay, that's just an insane play by Howell. This is straight out of UNC. Really intricately designed, and it's not blocked up well at all, but he cuts it back and sifts through to make a touchdown. That's a positive run with a plus movement. That's really good. Who said my boy couldn't run at the next level? Look at this. Is he the fastest? No, but obviously he's got great vision and he's tough to tackle with your arms. Drive 11. That is way too many drives, and that is the exact reason that the Cowboys are losing this. But it's enough time for us to see Sam Howell do this. Another perfect deep ball. Like I said, I've been telling you guys for 2-3 years, Sam Howell's got one of the best deep balls I've ever seen in a pre-draft prospect. It is the primary reason he should have been a top 10 pick in any draft. Him lasting to the 5th round, like, I was worried that he might have had some, like, legal issues. It made no sense. Here, it's a batted ball. It's going to happen when you got a low release and you're a little short like he is, about 6 foot. It's a bad throw. You got to be better than that. Got to alter your arm angle or move. Here, that's just another bad throw. Put it on the feet. Understandably, it looks like Howell can work on his short game. Unfortunately, that is all that the Commanders want to run, and I'm trying so hard not to call them the Redskins. We got one more throw from Howell in this game, I think, which is pretty disgusting, and honestly, I kind of hope that he doesn't start for Washington next year, simply because I hate these uniforms, I hate watching Scott Turner's offense, and honestly, I hate calling them the Commanders. as a Lakota man, I really dislike the notion of getting rid of a native image to replace it with an American military image. On that play, McLaurin clearly thinks that it's going to be a curl, and Howell thinks it's going to be an out. Right here, see how McLaurin just stops? He thinks it's a curl, and it probably should have been. Howell thinks it's an out, miscommunication. Tie goes to the veteran receiver, not the rookie quarterback. We'll call it a bad throw. And I think that's the last one we'll see. Yeah, so 2 more drives, and Washington ran the ball on every single play. That's all the film we get, apparently. Let's get to the charts. So let's look at this chart. We got a really small sample size. There's only 19 aimed passes, and that's counting the one that didn't count for a penalty. He also had a throwaway and 6 runs. 2 of those runs were negative. They were actually counted as sacks in the box score, but I thought they were more of a decision to run rather than getting caught in the pocket. And he also had 4 positive runs. He was very effective with his legs. I gave this game a B, and I'll explain why. First of all, the main attraction is his deep ball. He had those 2 really, really elite throws down the field. 2 elite throws on only 19 aimed passes is good for 5.4% of his 27 dropbacks. That's really good. The league average is 1.8%. So he's throwing a deep ball accurately about 3 times as often as the average starter. Now, again, tiny sample size, so you can only go off of what you saw and traits. Well, we know he's got a rocket of an arm, and we know he's really accurate deep. Right? He was 2 of 3 on deep balls. And the one that he didn't throw, he got a pass interference on, which, I think is BS, but he still was successful with it. So if you're a play caller drawing up plays for Sam Howell, you should be looking to go deep. Ironically, that's like the worst possible fit for Scott Turner, this fucking pansy-ass offensive coordinator that the not Redskins Commanders have. He had no great throws because they simply didn't target the intermediate area of the field, and that's really frustrating because, again, he throws with excellent velocity, and in order to take advantage of his skill set, you have to be throwing downfield like that. That's just another failure by Scott Turner. Only had 2 solid throws. Again, they didn't throw downfield. It was a lot of checkdowns. 27% pedestrian passes. The average starting quarterback in the NFL throws about 38.6% pedestrian passes, so, again, a little less. I think that that's primarily because he's running the ball so often. His dropbacks are getting skewed. Only 10.8% bad passes, which is about half of the 20% bad passes that the average starting quarterback throws, and the pickable, which was terrible and costly because it was in the end zone. But still, it's a lower rate than the league average. The league average is that a quarterback will throw a pickable on 3.8% of dropbacks, and Howell did it on only 2.7% of dropbacks. So you never want to say a pickable's okay, and especially not in the end zone. But the average starting quarterback would have thrown slightly more pickables, maybe a second one, maybe 1.5. This is the problem with tiny sample sizes. I didn't have him as taking any negative sacks, but I did have him as taking 2 negative runs. Again, you can move these all around however you want. The average quarterback, the average starter, has a negative run or a negative sack on 4.8% of dropbacks, and Howell had a negative run on 5.4% of dropbacks, so that's about average. He also got sacked once. It wasn't his fault. That's pretty typical. He had a throwaway. That's typical. He had 4 positive runs, though, good for almost 11% of his dropbacks, and that's a really big deal considering the average starter has 3% positive runs. 11% is big. We're talking like Lamar Jackson stratosphere. Now, is he that caliber of runner? No. Not at all. But quarterbacks who are known for running the ball well, like, let's say, Marcus Mariota is known as a runner first. He ran for a positive run on 8.9% of his dropbacks. Daniel Jones, his legs are very underrated. He runs for a positive run on 6.6% of his dropbacks. Lamar Jackson, the king of running the football, runs for a positive run on 10.1% of his dropbacks. And Justin Fields, the highest in the NFL, has a positive run on 14% of his dropbacks. So, and again, not all of those are complete samples. I haven't graded every single game from all of those guys, but those are the highest rates of positive runs you'll get, and Howell's hanging right there with him at 10.8. So really good running performance from Howell today. He avoided pressure pretty well with 9 positive pocket movements. That's about a 17% rate. Part of the reason that's so low compared to the league average of 26 is because the Commanders were throwing the ball short so frequently and keeping extra blockers in to protect when they couldn't. I don't know if they were just afraid of Micah Parsons or if Scott Turner really just has no understanding of his personnel. Like, if you know you're starting Sam Howell, you know you have to throw deep. Maybe if you're playing Taylor Heineke, you throw short because he has a weak arm, but this is a different quarterback, right? Sam Howell's much more of a short Big Ben than he is a Taylor Heineke. You got to throw the ball deep to get his like, you wouldn't play Josh Allen and then say, don't throw the ball downfield. that would make no sense and he would be terrible. Howell is kind of similar in that what makes him great is that downfield accuracy, which we saw, right? He threw 3 deep balls and all of them went for big gains, even though one of them was not an accurate pass. Overall, he was accurate on 73.7% of his passes. That's better than the 71.8% average from starting quarterbacks. He had a positive play on 29.6% of his dropbacks. That's good. That's 5% better than the league average. He also only had a negative play on 25.9% of passes, which is about 3 or 4% better than the 29% average across the league. Overall, I gave him a B. There were some highs and there were some lows. If he cleans up that interception, we're talking a B+. And if he's a little bit more in sync with his receivers on those 2 busted plays to Terry McLaurin, all of a sudden we're looking at an A-. Overall, I think there was a lot to be encouraged about here in the kid's first start against a good Dallas team that was actually trying very hard. And I think that Washington would honestly be stupid to look elsewhere for their starting quarterback next year. I don't think that there's an option out there much better than him. And when you consider the fact that he's young and costs nothing, they absolutely should start him in 2023 and beyond. If you guys want to see my preseason scouting report from about 10 months ago on Sam Howell, I'll put the link to the article I wrote about him on my free Patreon in the bio. But until Sam Howell's next start, I'll just be grinding film. Hasta.